All right, there we go. These have been some incredible talks, and I just want to thank the speakers for preceding me because they've set me up for success. Uh, we've heard a lot about Iceberg, and we've heard a lot about agents now. You've heard a lot about authentication, but it all has to work together. It all has to be orchestrated. And so hopefully mine kind of combines elements from each of these three talks and puts it together into a synthesis. So let's see how close I get to reality. Please fact check me. Who am I? Doesn't really matter. I just drink root beer and know things. But for my day job, I work for Redpanda Data. And I've worked around the internet and Silicon Valley since 1989. So I've had a lot of hats, done a lot of things. But let's take a look at the role of real-time data in AI. First of all, Redpanda, we handle a lot of mission-critical data already. If you want to drink from the fire hose of New York Stock Exchange every day, they deliver those real-time stock updates through Redpanda Topics. It's a Kafka-compatible engine, and it delivers all that financial data in real time. Alpaca, their open API that you can use to create your own financial applications, is also driven by Redpanda. Poolside uses us for fine-tuning and reinforced learning for their frontier models. So where you have big data, you may find Redpanda underneath the hood. And how does it work? Well, again, there's all these data sources, your gazintas, and all of your data sinks, your gazatas, right? That's the technical term. So whatever it is, it could be a transactional database, it could be IIoT data coming from sensors through MQTT, it could be open telemetry for your logs, metrics, and traces. So there's all sorts of data being produced all around the world at the zettabyte level, right? And it's got to go somewhere. Some of that ends up in this building, right? Or wherever the data centers are for Snowflake. Some might be interpreted in real time at a ClickHouse real-time analytics data store. Maybe it's going to go to InfluxDB for time series, or Prometheus if you're doing metrics and traces. Probably metrics, I should say. So all of these things are happening in real time. And underneath the hood, if you peel back the Band-Aid, what you'll see is a bunch of producers, Kafka producers, and a bunch of Kafka consumers that are pumping data eastbound to westbound. And there's, Redpanda is just one of many technologies that are out there. There's open source technologies like Apache Kafka, which was invented at LinkedIn down the road. Pulsar, tons of that. There's NATS, which is used a lot in financial systems. There's commercial hyperscalers offering Kafka-compatible services. And of course, commercial services like Confluent, which was bought by IBM recently, and Redpanda, et cetera. So this is not, Kafka came out around 2011, 2013. I think it was open sourced, over a decade ago. So Kafka has been around the block. In fact, LinkedIn has already replaced it internally. They invented Apache Kafka, and they have a new Kafka replacement. So this is a well-entrenched technology across the world. But one of the things that happened is we tried to rebrand the term to event streaming, and then everybody thought that it was your favorite Taylor Swift concert. So this is not event streaming. We're going to default back to the term data streaming. And so how does AI come into this? Well, data streaming is everywhere. These are actually 25 different verticals where Redpanda has customers today. And if you take a look at it, oh, guess what? They also use AI. Oh, and guess what? They're also using lakehouses. Wait a second. Are you telling me that all of these things are occurring? Yes, but there are two ships passing in the night. Your data sciences team is at this end of the building doing inferencing. Data engineering teams at this side of the building. They might see each other at the break room or the lunchroom. They might be friends and go to movies, but their work is often very orthogonal. And then you have to throw an iceberg in the back of that. One of the cool things, though, about what we're doing at Redpanda is we're making it such that an iceberg table can be a consumer of a Kafka topic. Flows straight on in. But it doesn't only have to go to an iceberg. I mean, that's the open sourcey, happy way. We're all happy with that, right? But Redpanda Connect can connect to hundreds of data sources and data sinks. And one of the ones that this building cares about, in fact, I'll get to that in a little bit. But one of the things we've also done is we've decided, okay, so what if you have Kafka topics and you have Iceberg tables and you want to do a federated query across them both? That's what we're doing with a new technology called Redpanda SQL. It's based on a data engine out of Poland called Oxla. And so Redpanda SQL can do an infinite stream where the partitions in Kafka are treated as a row-based table, and the Iceberg tables, Parquet files, will be a column store, and will automatically join the two into a single unified view. And again, it's just a really fast thing. By the way, it's Postgres compatible. So if you know the Postgres SQL semantic, you don't have to learn anything new. It's not a different kind of semantic. That's pretty darn fast. Here you go. 600 million rows in 0.18 seconds. So it's a vector store. And if you want to learn more, take out your phones and you can take a picture of this QR code. Andy Pavlo had us as the first, this semester's first talk at Carnegie Mellon. So you can learn all about how Oxla works. But now here's the deeper moment of Zen. So you have streaming, you have analytics, and then you might need to have observability on all this happening in real time and AI thrown in the mix with agents. So how does that work? Well, this is where the Redpanda Agentic data plane came into effect for us. And you heard a similar language from LiveRamp, and we're talking with LiveRamp about how to actualize this in terms of a product solution. So you have agents on one side, and they're being driven off of LLMs. You have data on the other side. The agents are owned by the CTO, who is all gas, no brake. He's saying, go for it. I want everybody to have agents. Everybody is now a Claude coder. And here's the CIO saying, over my dead body, are you getting access to the goal tables? And if you are getting access to the goal tables, it's read only, right? These are dichotomies right now that's going on. You have the conservatives and the progressives, the politics of data. And so the only way to join these two sides is to have trust between the both. Explainability, here's what I want to do. Well, this is what I'm going to let you do. And then there has to be context passed between both of these. And so look at how the C-suite is divided. I want to connect, I want to deploy. The chief data officer is saying, like, the data is not in any shape to be used by agents. You don't want my data, right? Not yet. The chief technology officer is like, oh yes, we're totally ready. This is happening already, whether you want it to or not. Everybody's getting CloudBot, right? Yikes. The chief product officer is trying to be a little bit one way and a little bit the other. They want to have agents as customer service, but they also don't want to get the company sued because the agents are telling it something it shouldn't. And then you take a look at what governance means across your C-suite. The chief legal officer is saying, nobody gets sued, nobody dies, we're not ending up on any headlines today, right? The chief information security officer is saying, nothing leaks. Nothing gets deleted. We're not going to have the first $1 billion AI-caused outage in the world. We've already had $1 million outages due to AI. There is a countdown timer to when the first $1 billion AI outage occurs. It's just a countdown timer. It will happen. Nobody wants to be that first CISO. And the chief financial officer is, how did we lose so much money by using AI this quarter, this year? What are you doing with this token budget thing? I thought you said this was going to save us money. They're already complaining about the cloud bill. And now you're telling, Jensen said, I'm going to hire somebody at $400,000 a year, and I'm going to give that engineer $250,000 worth of tokens to burn. How many people here can afford that kind of burn rate? So your CFO is like, Maybe we need to come up with a budget that's sustainable. Maybe not everything needs the highest cost per token frontier model. How are we going to route this query to the right inference engine to be affordable? Does things need to be returned in seconds, or is this the kind of inference that I could take hours and save myself some money? This is what we need to be building for enterprises. The typical vibe coder cares nothing about this. They're going to give ClaudeBot access to their whole hard disk as if they just chmod 777 their entire drive. And so what's happening is that the vibe coding revolution is hitting what I call the wall of nope. Right? It works on my laptop. Well, we'll ship your laptop. Right? No, you're not going to ship your laptop. Did your Claude coded app do data sanitization? Well, that would have been a good idea. Right? There's so many things to get your vibe coded app up into production, even internally. Security hardening, testing, CI/CD pipelines, support plans. Who's paying for this? These questions have to be answered realistically to get anywhere with any of this. Otherwise, any one of the stakeholders says nope. Has to be green lights all down the board. All systems green, we're go for launch. So one of the things is that there's not one tool that's going to solve for all these problems. You're going to need an AI gateway to get access to the frontier models. You need to have MCP hosting to get access to your data systems. You're going to need to be able to build and deploy this. You're going to need to tie into your corporate authorization systems. And right now, companies are building all of this on the fly. And they're saying, like, can we normalize any of this? Is there any open standards or protocols to do these kinds of things? Is there an open framework? Because cloud vendor A wants me to do it this way, and inference engine B wants me to do it that way. And I'm being tugged in all these directions. What do we, like, this is Silicon Valley. I worked at Cisco. There's web standards for building a web page. There's Ethernet standards for Ethernet. Like, what are the standards for AI? And we're not there yet as an industry. We're just discovering, like, MCP is the best we can do, and it's trash. So we're trying to do something called the Agentic Data Plane. Sounds like the Agentic Data Platform that LiveRamp is talking about, because we're talking with LiveRamp. They're telling us that what they want to have is the same thing we were talking about before: data streaming, connectors, a good SQL engine, but on top of that, all the rest of these services we talked about. You have to give your agents a job. You have to give them the rules that they're allowed to behave according to. And this box here is one I want you guys to think about on behalf of. We were just talking before about how to give a group authorization. But imagine this: 3 years from now, you or somebody that you love is pulled into a windowless room where there's a member of the physical security team, a member of human resources, and a member of the CISO's office, and they go, "What did you do?" What do you mean? I didn't do anything. Well, yes, you did. Tell us why. Because your agent used your credential. Your agent used your credential. And the CISO doesn't understand what you did versus what your agent did. You might have given that credential last year, and yet it still has those credentials. So how do you not get fired for a stupid thing your agents were doing behind your back? We need to have on behalf of authorization. I'm in a team. I have an agent running. The agent can do X, Y, and Z. How do I minimize the credentials of that agent so it can do only read access to the database? Maybe it can pay bills up to $25 for my bank account, but I don't want it to spend my entire paycheck. So how do we do on behalf of, both for consumers and for businesses? It's a serious question, and the answer is we don't know yet. It's something that the identity providers are talking about. It's something that there's some RFC standards on, but we don't have it solved. Guardrails. I hate the term guardrails. In the real world, a guardrail is to keep a sleepy driver from killing pedestrians on the sidewalk. A guardrail is not sufficient to stop a determined attacker from driving a truck into somebody's front office. You might need Jersey barriers. You might need, if you're in a war zone, Alaska barriers, which are 20 feet high, or HESCO barriers, which are filled with dirt to prevent an artillery shell from killing the personnel behind it. Guardrails are the bare minimum. It's a fig leaf of protection. We heard before about the term attack surface. There is no attack surface. The agent itself is the attack vector. Everything is attack volume now. There's no outside or inside. There's no up or down. Everything is attack volume. Anywhere your agent can get to is a threatened area. So guardrails, minimum, bare minimum, that's the least you can do. And that may work for many environments where you believe that you're trusting people, but it's probably not sufficient for any determined attacker. And for AI, we have not really gotten to the point where we can prevent terrorist attacks, true life and death kinds of things. And we need to think about that as an industry, just like we think about OBO. So anyway, more stuff to do, but all of this has to be in place, and that's what we're trying to build. So a system that can connect to any frontier model, it can deploy to your VPC on any cloud or on premises. It needs to connect to your identity provider. It needs to have OTLP, right? That's the OTEL protocol to send out metrics, observability data to wherever you need to analyze it. And again, it needs to connect to all your data systems, transactional, analytical, etc. And that's my rant for tonight.
Do we have questions?
I've shocked them.
Yeah, you sure do. Okay, thank you.
Can we try it out with Docker?
Oh, the answer is no. This is something that we're doing with design partners inside their environments. This is not available through Docker. It's not going to be available on the AWS Marketplace. We're doing a design partnership with very large, like global 2000 companies. And so a lot of the stuff that we're doing is going to be proprietary and specific to their environments. But we will eventually have a touchable version of this.
Okay.
But for now, the kind of work that we're trying to do is very much private and trade secret kind of stuff, if you can imagine. But it's a good question.